Hey everybody. After that last failed stream, I got things working again. I got to continue my journey anyway. We'll see if the HDMI cable holds up. It's always the HDMI cable in the end. Even the expensive ones give out after a few rough trips through a bicycle live stream. Let me just really quickly get one thing set up here. These bicycle live streams are such a pain in the ass. Sometimes I do wonder if I should do them at all, but I go out filming anyway. It would be nice to be able to bring some people along to see. Let me just get back to my GPS has forgotten the route that I was on. It was that long. Really? Was it that long? All right. Let's try this again. Take two. So, we're cycling here in Amsterdam Oost on my way to Zeeburgereiland to get a few clips of some new buildings being built that I've been meaning to do for a while. We will get there eventually. Give me a second. Oh my God, one thing after another with these things. All right, that's a little more stable on the camera. This is kind of funny up here. So this is the end of this Fietspad, and then there's this tiny little section here that's the entrance to this hardware store off to the right. So cars can come here, but just as the entrance to the hardware store. I also like how the hardware store charges for parking. You never see that in North America. I'm pretty sure that's the stop line for cars. I think we can go up here. Oh no, that's the left turns. Okay, whatever, doesn't matter. But it's pretty nice out here, especially along this path. This actually gets pretty good. I've come out here before. Not very often though. As I was saying in the previous stream that died, I don't get out to Oost very often. That's right, I am back. The stream is back. I think the HDMI cable died. And yes, it might be worth putting a vert Klaus in there, something to hold the cables. It's tough to say. It is difficult to live stream from a bicycle. There's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of cables that need to stay connected, a lot of technology that needs to work. Whoa, this area needs some trees. Yeah, perhaps. There's a lot of new buildings off to the right here. This was an underdeveloped region that's had a lot of infill lately. And it is a clear sunny day, which is rare here, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to get out and do some filming. I already have done a little bit of filming today, but dude, he's moving. I love this path though. It's like a bicycle highway. There's so many people cycling along here at any given time. And this is in the middle of the day. I mean, what, it's like around 2:30. But it's nice. And I can cycle faster without the camera bouncing around because it's nice asphalt. How many people we got? Okay, we got 68 people across Twitch and YouTube. I imagine some people got sick of waiting for the, the video to come back. That's all right, I would too. Looks like a Suburban business park there off to the right. I can't imagine those surface parking lots will stay around for very long. Used to come here for gym class, just running around Flavel Park. Yeah, it's pretty nice. Nice park. Here off to the right that I just passed, there's a thing that says Feets Teller. They have these little cameras for counting the number of bicycles that go by. I've seen them out here, and I've seen them out on the pass in Zout too. The Lord and Savior himself is back. Oh man. All right, so this is not going to be terribly interesting for this part of the ride because it's just so nice. There's not much to talk about, except maybe the lack of trees. I agree, they could put some more trees in here. Off to the left, there's a canal, and these canals are still used for shipping. Like, you can't see it here on camera, maybe they'll pass us, but there's like a canal barge with a bunch of shipping containers on it. Just bought a bike after loving your videos for so long. I live in Melbourne and there's some really nice bike trails around me. That's awesome. Yeah, I've heard some good things about Melbourne, but I've never been. Been to Sydney, I've never made it out to Melbourne. It's kind of far. So we're coming up to a highway, and I just love how they let the people walking and cycling be on ground level, and the highway goes over us. This is also going up because it has to cross the canal, of course. And the bridge has to be high enough to allow ships, cargo ships, to go underneath it. Not huge cargo ships, but big enough. This part is a bit funny. It kind of feels like we're pulling into somebody's driveway or some like company driveway. Yeah, there are plenty of leaf blowers on wheels out here. Pretty sure, well, this is a road. This is just flat out 30 km/h street, but I'm pretty sure that mopeds are allowed in the bike lanes out this far. It's only in the center and a few other parts of the city where they've been banned. It's a Wohnwagen camp. Oh, that's interesting. All right, this bridge is the way we are going to cross the shipping canal. You can see it right up ahead, and the entrance is just off to our right. And apparently mopeds can use this. Yes, they can. The sign doesn't say anything about it. So mopeds can use this path, which I guess kind of makes sense, because how else are you going to cross the canal? This is a A little bit steep, but it's not so bad. It loops around to keep the grade reasonable. I'm not sure what the grade is here, but I am kind of glad that I have an e-bike. I've noticed when I've come out here before, as you get farther out of town, a lot of people have e-bikes. Like in Amsterdam, it's not really necessary. So, I mean, even when I go out in Amsterdam, I usually just ride a old Oma Fiets or something. But when you get out of the city, an e-bike gets really handy. But this is still very doable even on a regular bike. My bicycles are acoustic, yeah. We have a couple acoustic bicycles and a couple electric bicycles. I definitely like the e-bikes for longer trips, and we use them all the time, but for just going to like get groceries or something, or go to meet somebody at a pub or a restaurant, it's best to take the acoustic bicycle. This is just cracking weather. We're at the top of the bridge now. Yeah, this is nice. I filmed there recently. Hey, Bicycle Dutch. It's Mark from Bicycle Dutch. I assume everybody knows him, but if not, go on Bicycle Dutch on YouTube and subscribe to him immediately, please. I think he's probably the guy that got me into all this in the first place. Where I live, that bridge would be dead empty. Yeah, it's certainly not here, although it's very quiet. But it is 2:30 in the afternoon on a Tuesday, so I guess that's not so surprising. All right, and here we are at the end. That was very nice way to cross the canal. And I'm going to head off to the left here. Yeah, that's a good question. How you feeling, Mark? Mark from Bicycle Dutch just had open heart surgery. Pretty serious, but apparently it went well. Give me a second here. I just want to, this mount on the camera gets a little bit loose. It's not enough to fall off, but I just, okay. Almost there. Another about a kilometer to go. Well, a little more actually, but I have one other place I want to stop first. It does kind of feel like we're going into the middle of nowhere right now. There are some small like community gardens here off to the left, I'm assuming. These don't look like permanent houses. You can, in some places in Amsterdam, I have a Patreon bonus video about it actually. There's some places in towns in the Netherlands where you can rent a little garden plot. And there's a little like cottage shack on it. That's what's off to the left here. And this is the bridge to get into where we're going. Can't cycle for 5 weeks. Ooh. But that's okay. You'll have a nice, well-deserved rest, and you'll be back as good as ever. Okay, well this is kind of nice. This is a relatively new neighborhood. I don't know if somebody can tell me when this was built. I think it was around 2008, if I remember correctly. I like this architecture actually. Each one of the houses is built a little bit differently, like they would have been in Amsterdam canal houses. So each one has a bit different architecture, but they all fit together. Jesus, that Kanta is loud. Oh my God. It looks like it has a bunch of household repairs on it too. That thing has seen better days. Wow. But yeah, I kind of like this this neighborhood. I wouldn't mind getting a video of it, but I'm kind of in just the wrong way for the sun. I'll try this way, but I'll just grab a few seconds in case I want to use this for some reason. I don't know why, but you know, film more than you need, right? That's the rule. Film a lot more than you need, because most of it ends up on the cutting room floor. Not that there are cutting room floors anymore. You know what I mean. All right, thanks for your patience. The exciting life of an urban planning YouTuber, standing around in the street, pointing a camera at things while everyone looks a little bit nervous. Long time no see. How's the stream setup doing? Still got issues with HDMI cables. Well, funny you ask. This is the second stream of the day. For the first one, the HDMI cable died. One of the expensive ones too, from Cables. Okay. This is not actually where I wanted to go, although the truth is I'm running out of time. I got to go pick up my kids soon, so maybe I'm going to make another trip out here sometime soon. So let me just see here. I wanted to go over here. So I'll put in new directions. Directions by bicycle. And let's go. Hello from Australia. That's good. Yes, I'm doing all right. This weather, can't really complain, eh? Now, I've never been out here before, so this is just kind of interesting. Kind of a scouting mission, too, because I'm making some videos about transit-oriented development and development being done around transit lines and things like that. And out here, there's not a huge amount of transit, but they do have buses and they have a tram line. The tram line was actually built before the houses were built, which is not something you'd see in North America, that's for sure. Here comes the tram now. Is that green for me? Yes. Can you take a photo of the setup you have on the bike and put it on Twitter? Yeah, possibly. I don't know if there's much to see though. It's mostly all crammed into a backpack, but maybe I can do something good. I wouldn't recommend anyone try this. Live streaming on a bicycle is stupid. Actually, if you want to see live streaming on a bicycle done well, somebody who still has technical issues, but like a 50th of what I have, check out Bike Curious on Twitch. He's actually fantastic. Every single Sunday he's out in San Francisco, and he does a really, really good job. I'm usually in there in the stream, sometimes anonymously just listening, but yeah, Bike Curious on Twitch. Check him out for sure. Definitely worth a watch. Definitely a lot less technical issues than this. There's a big data leak last year through all the cables. Yeah. Totally does not surprise me. So these islands are relatively new, like they're made up of a lot of reclaimed land. Propel is doing pretty well too with his quad setup. Oh, I should check that out. I haven't seen that recently. So you do kind of get limited coming in and out of here because you got to come in by bridge. And on a day like this, it's fine, but if there's like a cold and windy, rainy day, it kind of sucks to cycle along this bridge. But, you know, I like the way they've got this set up. They've got the two-way feeds pad. They've got only two lanes, one in each direction for cars. And then they have the tram. It seems like a good allocation of space. So yeah, when they started planning Iberg, they decided they needed the tram there before people started living there, and that's exactly right. And that's actually what I want to talk about in my upcoming video. So I went to Iberg the other day and did some filming out there, but I also wanted to come out here to Zeeburgereiland. This is relatively uncomfortable with the amount of cars and the highway and everything, but this was all built, you know, 1960s, 70s time frame, back when there was nothing out here. I hope that they, oops, was I supposed to go up there? No, okay. I hope that they start to tame the cars in this area because it can be quite unpleasant. But still, I mean, look at this. Highways over there, we're on the correct side of the guardrail, not the other side where you usually find yourself in North America. Here, we don't have to go down as low as the cars through this tunnel because bicycles don't need as much height clearance. So as far as like making a suburban area bike friendly, this is not so bad. But North America could take some lessons from this right here, that's for sure. This is unpleasant and looks better than anything I see locally. Exactly. I mean, when I say this is unpleasant, it's unpleasant for the Netherlands, but yeah, if this existed in almost any other place I'd lived, I'd be like, wow, this is the best infrastructure we've ever had. That's funny. Got 137 people, so that's good between YouTube and Twitch. Back to some people must have come back after the technical issues or joined in since. I usually end up getting between 200 to 300 people between Twitch and YouTube for a stream. But thanks for coming along. So we've got some new buildings off to the right here. Looks like condo buildings. Interesting that they still keep the heights like relatively low, certainly compared to North American cities. Like they're all kind of under 4, 5, or 6 stories. right, but I gotta get going. I actually have to get back to Amsterdam Zoo pretty soon. I futzed around too long with technical issues. I just kind of wanted to film these trams out here, this intersection, and I wanted to see what the state of new development is out here, because they're doing a huge amount of new development. They've got some schools that are moving out here, some existing schools. They're building lots of new housing. They've been talking about expanding this tram line. The frequencies, I think, are every 10 minutes right now. And that is a wacky looking building to my immediate right. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Let's just pull in here and see what the neighborhood looks like. Actually, can I get some video of this? Just the bridge and coming into it. It's not very windy out here today. Normally it's quite a lot windier when you get out to these islands. But today, wow, today is just a beautiful day, period. I guess this is our summer. We'll see the next one next March. All right, camera on. I mean, looks like ugly London new developments. I mean, looks like everywhere's new developments. This is kind of like the style of everywhere. It's either this or it's like pure glass. All right, anyway, let's get some video here. Okay. All right, what else am I going to look at before I really am running out of time? Anyone know when this neighborhood was built? Maybe a cool idea for a video, fietsnelwegen or bicycle highways. Yeah, a lot of people ask me for that, actually. I kind of feel like Market Bicycle Dutch has done so many videos about those that I would just be like making a compilation of all the things he said. So I usually send people over to Bicycle Dutch when they ask about that, but someday I think I will make a video about it. I think just on the general idea that within the Netherlands, the thing that's quite unique is that you can kind of cycle anywhere. Like even in Denmark, getting out of Copenhagen gets kind of dodgy. But here, like you can cycle from one town to the other and then safely cycle there and then cycle on to the next town after that through the network of fietsnelwegen. Yeah, Arrow Raiders is new developments like this in the US are kind of like this, but they're cheaply made. They're typically 5/1s, right? They're made from wood panels. And I love when they say that the wood panels are environmentally friendly, but those wood panels are effectively stuck together with oil. Like they're basically oil-made buildings more than they are wood-made buildings. It's kind of interesting though, they've got these mid-rise buildings here, as well as some off to the left that look like townhomes, more family focused. I think this guy is turning in here. And then I typically see this quite often. They design it around a park like this. I think this is built from 1990 to 2010. That's what I was thinking too. It's newer than Iberg. I'll get just a bit of video here too. Hopefully not interfering with the kids. I usually like to avoid filming families. It feels kind of inappropriate. Stick their family up on the internet without asking. And I'm not about to get into asking. Built from 2015 to 2019. Really? The park looks pretty cool for kids. Yeah, it does, right? They do this a lot. They kind of put the buildings around a shared park that all the kids can play at. I think this is a great idea. You know, I get all these people telling me that you need a backyard in the suburbs, but this is this suburban idea that you have to basically rebuild the world in your little castle. Like, you need your own climber, you need your own space. Like, this is a shared space, and the kids in the neighborhood can play together, which I think is just way better, period. Like, kids in this neighborhood are gonna play together way more often than kids who are all playing in their own backyards. And I think that's just great. They also have affordable housing mixed in here too. Backyards and front yards are so boring. I agree. Like, this is the thing. I think when people talk about the suburbs for children, they seem to be like incapable of thinking of children over the age of about 6. Like, if you're 12, your backyard is boring as hell. If you're 16, I mean, Jesus, you don't want to be hanging around in your backyard. That sucks. Anyway, unfortunately, I fussed around so much with technical issues that I'm going to have to get back to Zout already, so I'll have to come out here another day. But I'll stream it, maybe take a different route. But right now I have to get back to Zout. So let me just punch that into my GPS, because I'm not sure what the best route is from here. I can guess. Am I going to be going back the way I came? Boo. Oh no. Okay, that's good. That's a good route. But yeah, I want to make a video about this concept. There's this concept in North America, in suburban idea, that everybody has to build their own little castle, their own little fiefdom. They need their huge house with rooms they don't use just in case they have guests over. They need to have their basement with their pool table. They need to have their garage with their workshop that they use for a few months and then get bored of it. They need their pool. They need your climber. They need their yard. They need their bar and man cave in the basement. And I find it just so ridiculous. You're effectively recreating the world in your own house, you know, which is fine if you hate other people, but there's an alternative, which is, it's basically the death of the commons, right? Like, nobody goes to the public swimming pool. You just find a friend who owns a swimming pool in their backyard. Nobody goes to the pub. They go to their man cave. And I think it actually results in a lot of negative consequences for society. Oh yeah, there's not nearly as much built out here as I thought, so maybe there's not much for me to film, because I thought that they would be done some of this by now, and that's what I was coming out here to film. Public swimming pool is kind of nasty. Not really. I mean, the public swimming pools in Toronto are wonderful. They have water slides, they're clean, and they're really great. They're free as well. Like, I think public swimming pools are nasty in America because nobody uses them. There's a lack of investment in them. Not because public swimming pools are inherently problematic. And I think, yeah, maybe you want your man cave, but like, I personally think it's a hell of a lot better to be able to go down to the local pub. You can run into some friends, you can run into some neighbors, you can meet people and talk. It's actually really, really nice. Like, we have our local pub that we go to, that we couldn't go to for months because of Corona. Months, over a year. Actually, I just want to get a quick video of this tram stop before I go. Anyway, the idea is that, like, as everybody trying to build their own castle in the suburbs, the commons absolutely dies from a lack of investment. And a lack of commons, I think, is a genuine problem. Because the other problem is it becomes a vicious circle, because when the commons there's no investment in the commons, they become shitty and nobody wants to use them. Is a tram? Oh yeah, okay, a tram is coming by now. Give me a sec. Alright, that was good. Man, there's buses here, there's trams, there's all kinds of public transit. Some time ago I heard that more than 50% of Dutch people have an e-bike instead of a normal bike. And no, I don't think that's true. I think the stat was that over 50% of new bicycles are e-bikes. Are you happy with the local election results? I am incredibly surprised that the P van de A won. I think everybody was, but I don't have a problem with them. I thought it was, if people weren't happy with GroenLinks, I thought it was going to be D66. But whatever, P van de A is fine by me. All right, anyway. I got what I needed for that shot, so let's get out of here and let's get back to Zout. And I think I'll come back here another time, but there's actually a lot less new development in front of us here than I thought there was, so maybe now is not the right time to be filming it anyway. Okay, anyway. Back on the feet spot again. Okay, so that was Zeeburgereiland. I didn't get as much footage as I thought, but there isn't as much development since the last time I was here anyway. So now we're going to cycle back to Amsterdam Zuid, where I live. And we'll see what the route looks like. I have taken this route before, but it's been a couple of years, I think, actually. So let's see how it is. I know the last time I cycled out here, it was cold and rainy and windy, and this bridge sucked. But today's beautiful. I used to hate this bridge. You're breathing in exhaust fumes the whole time. Yeah, I feel the same way. I mean, at least it's only one lane in each direction for cars. But it is definitely my preference when there is a separate bridge for walking and cycling and not one that's shared with cars. I mean, we went over one in the beginning of this stream, right? So, but this is the fastest way for me to get back to Zuid. Cars are loud. Motorcycles are loud too. Don't worry, this will all be solved when they're electric, like those last two. Oh, those last three were electric. I love it when people say to me, oh, electric cars are quiet. I'm like, no, as soon as they get over like 40 kilometers an hour, they're just as loud as any other car. Does Amsterdam have a large English-speaking population? Well, a lot of people speak English very well here, yes, and there's a lot of tourists and international companies that do business in English. Why have you made so little content in the last few weeks? Well, I had COVID. That kind of put a damper on things. Thankfully, I'm vaxxed and boosted, and it only lasted about 6 days. But I'm actually I had COVID I don't know, what is it, like 5 weeks ago now? 4 weeks, 5 weeks ago? And I'm only just barely getting my energy back. Like, I was getting exhausted by like 7 p.m. It gets so quiet as soon as the cars are gone. Anyway, I'm gonna crank up the e-assist and let's get moving. Yeah, they do try to separate the two modes. There are different routes, but that doesn't mean that there also aren't bicycle paths next to cars. So, in general, the way it works in the Netherlands is they try to separate the routes for bikes from the routes for cars, but there is still infrastructure next to the car routes, always, almost always, unless there's like a very viable path next to it. But of course, when it comes to bridges, there's often a bottleneck. I mean, the way to do this trip without going by the cars would be to go by the bridge that we did on the beginning of the stream. Currently I have COVID, only a slight headache, my throat hurts a bit, yeah. I had the most painful sinuses with COVID. They were just, it felt like there was a fire inside of my nose and sinuses. It was brutal, and I could not get rid of the pain. Sucked. Yeah, bridges are tricky and expensive to separate, exactly that. So they have plans to build more pedestrian bridges across the river, but those things take time and money and yeah. There are pedestrian bridges across the river. As I said at the beginning of the stream, we took one of them, but anyway, in some ways it's not possible to separate cars and bicycles. are some people holding on to the cars are modern and bikes are slow, but that's a lot more rare now. I think that would be mostly older people. Like that was the stated position of the Amsterdam government in the 1960s and 50s. I remember reading about it when I was doing some research for some videos about the history of Amsterdam. Politicians were literally saying we have to get rid of these bikes. Like it was a priority for the city to get rid of bicycles. Like in Amsterdam in the 1960s, they had a stated goal of getting people off of bicycles because bicycles were seen as old and we were falling behind the rest of the world after World War II, and you know that they did a lot to get rid of bicycles. Is this San Francisco? Are you kidding me? This is Amsterdam. Oh man, why is this blocked off? Of course, fuck. Well, I'm going to be Dutch about this, and I am going to go through there anyway, even if it's blocked off. What does that sign say? Voetfietspad, Zeeburgereiland, afgesloten tot September 2022 vanwege werkzaamheden. Boo. Alright, well, I'll go on the other side of the canal then. Just go left and right? Well, I'll go right and left. It is legit closed though, so I'll just take this route, it's fine. Why is it closed until September 2022? Yeah, that does feel like a really long time to me. It's funny because there's construction going on, like I passed it the other day in De Pijp along Ferdinand Bolstraat, and it's going to be months and months and months of construction too, but what they did is they just closed the car lanes completely. So the trams can still go through. There was only I think like a 1 week period where they replaced the tram tracks all at once, so then the trams couldn't run. And then the trams run, and it's crazy. Like from a North American perspective, it's crazy to see the trams running through a active construction site. They just keep the trams going, but block the cars. It's awesome to see. 20 meters, turn left. Yeah, if the construction is done by then, let's see. I can also just continue on this for a little while longer. Hey, windmill up ahead. Is that the brewery up there? I'm just going to stay on this for a bit longer. This is perfectly fine anyway. And we get to see this windmill. Everything is San Francisco if you're bike curious enough, yeah. Definitely check out Bike Curious on Twitch. He's really good. I like his streams. Every Sunday he's streaming San Francisco. Yeah, I think it's the brewery guy. But I'm pretty sure it has to be, right? I don't know of any other windmills in Oost. But then I also don't get out to Oost very often, so, you know, there's that. Does Amsterdam do a lot of bus substitutions when they need to do work on trams? No, that's the thing that surprised me. Like in Toronto, when they need to do work, like in Toronto, they're replacing a lot of the old water mains that are like 70, 80 years old. And they just run buses instead of trams. But here, they just keep running the trams through the construction zone. It's totally awesome. and they don't replace them with buses. And Toronto pays, when Toronto replaces a streetcar line with buses, it costs them an extra $1 million a month because it's so much more expensive to operate buses than trams. Which is bonkers. But here, yeah, they run trams through the construction site. And trams are the priority. They make sure the trams are down for the lowest amount of time possible through the construction process. It's really awesome to see. You think it's de Goeiermoyen? Yeah, I think you must be right, because the brewery's not here, right? It's closer to Central. When is your next YouTube video going to drop? I think it's actually going to be in 2 weeks from now. I've got a few in with the editor, but I don't think they're going to be done before then. There is going to be a Nebular Plus video that I think is going to release on Monday. But I have to check the schedules. See, now I send these over to the editing team, and I have a little less clarity over when things are going to be done. Wait, trams are cheaper than buses. Yes, trams are way cheaper than buses. Way cheaper than buses. Like, trams cost a lot in upfront infrastructure, but after that, they're cheaper to operate and they last longer than buses too. So, in the long run, they are always cheaper. The amount of times trams get replaced by buses in Philly is insane. Yeah, it's the same in Toronto, and it drives me nuts, especially when I found out it cost them $1 million per month more. I got that stat the first time they shut down Queen Street, and I was following Toronto politics quite closely, and I'm like, how can this be acceptable? $1 million a month can pay for a lot of stuff that we could use for better things if you just keep the trams running and, you know, stop the cars running through there. Cars can go down any road in downtown. Why do they need to go down that one during construction? What do I think of the electric scooter shares? I think they're kind of a good idea. I've actually signed up to them, but I've never used them. I think electric scooters have their place. Not in the bike lane, though. Jesus. Motorcycles are so fucking loud. I hate them. It was fun hearing you on the Well, There's Your Problem podcast. Yeah, I like the Well, There's Your Problem podcast. I've been following Do Not Eat for a long time, of course. I mean, he had a great channel. It's kind of dead now. I'm sure Franklin 14 will come out in 2027 or something, but so I've been listening to the Well, There's Your Problem podcast since the start, when it didn't have a name. And honestly, I like any podcast with Alice Caldwell-Kelly on it. She's just so fucking funny. But she also knows so much random stuff. So I watch like the Kill James Bond podcast that she's on and Trash Future that she's on. So it was nice to come on the podcast. Can you do a video on Den Haag or Utrecht? I'm not sure if I'm going to do a video on Utrecht anytime soon, because I feel like Bicycle Dutch does so many videos about Utrecht. I feel like we need videos about towns that are not covered so much. Den Haag might be an interesting one because it's quite car friendly. Batteries are going to be a huge detriment to motorcycles. And would they still call them motorcycles? Well, yes, they have electric motors in them, so yes. But yeah, perhaps. I think the thing is, you could actually fit a decent battery pack on a motorcycle, but it's going to come at a cost. Motorcycles as they exist today, though, have to go away. They're too powerful, they're too fast, they're too loud. Something has to change. What about a video about the Strode-like roads in the Netherlands? There really aren't Strodes in the Netherlands. I know Dutch people like to tell me, oh, there's a Strode near me, and then I look at it and I'm like, that's just a road. Or that's just a busy street. Like, I mean, I may make a video about some of the worst roads in the Netherlands, which are some of those old roads that haven't been improved, but there really are not stroads in the Netherlands the way they are in North America. I've had so many examples sent to me by Dutch people say, look, this is a stroad near me. And I'm like, that is not a stroad, dude. That is just a road. Yeah, it sucks, but it's a road. It doesn't have 4 lanes of traffic. It doesn't have a whole bunch of businesses lining it. It doesn't have surface parking lots everywhere. It doesn't have like wide lanes, and like it's very different. I think it's hard for people who have never really experienced a stroad to understand how it is different than just a busy street or a busy road. Stroads certainly exist in other countries other than the US and Canada, though. They kind of become the default when you design for level of service and then also allow businesses to develop along the road. Fortnite made an electric motorcycle by just sticking a lithium car battery in an old Suzuki. Yeah, I think there's lots of possibilities for electric motorcycles, but the things that people buy motorcycles for are going to have to change. I actually like Fortnite. It's weird. They're a motorcycle channel on YouTube, Fortnite, if you've ever seen it. I do not like motorcycles. I have no interest in them, but I like Fortnite. I like their approach to things. I like the fact that they don't, they're motorcycle enthusiasts that don't just write off electric motorcycles. Their videos are well produced, so I actually quite like them. Maybe I should do a collab with them sometime. Yeah, Fortnite is great, refreshing approach, and that's what I think too. I think they are just very reasonable about the whole thing. They're reasonable about, like, motorcycles have their place and they work really well, and you don't have to be a dickhead to ride one. And I'm a big fan of the Fortnite approach to motorcycles. So you should do a video about stroads versus busy roads and streets, and that's possible. I think I might do a video about how this is not a stroad, Dutch people. This is huge news. I would love to see a collab. Well, I don't think there is one. That was the first time I've ever mentioned it. But why don't you go over and tell Fortnite that I'll do a collab with him on motorcycles. Maybe a mix of motorcycles as they intersect with e-bikes. I did see there's a great Fortnite video about e-bikes and about how e-bikes are dangerous, and some of the dangers around e-bikes and why that's the case. And then they talk about how e-bikes, riding an e-bike in the United States, the statistics are showing that, so it's early days for the statistics, but the statistics are showing that riding an e-bike in the United States is about as dangerous as riding a motorcycle. And Fortnite makes the conclusion that if it's as dangerous as a motorcycle anyway, you might as well try a motorcycle. They're actually pretty great. So that's his conclusion out of that. My conclusion out of that was, holy shit, e-bikes are as dangerous as motorcycles. What is wrong with you people? Build some proper infrastructure. Almere is not one big stroad. It really is not. This is what I'm telling you about how Dutch people don't understand stroads. Almere does not have stroads. It has roads. A video about bollards would be funny. I could do it in collaboration with the World Bollard Association Twitter account. If you don't follow them, go follow them on Twitter. They're called the World Bollard Association, and they just post stuff about bollards. It's very funny and well done. All right, it's nice to get off that busy street. That was a Stadshouderskade, that street that we were on, and it was originally in the 60s planned to become a highway. They were going to fill that canal and make it a ring road for the city. But oh man, that would have sucked. Almere has great infrastructure. It's boring and soulless, but it's great, and I completely agree. I think part of the reason it's boring and soulless is because it's new. It's hard to bring a life to a place that's so new. But, I mean, maybe there's something more fundamental. But I actually think Almere has a lot of lessons that should be learned by North America, and I'm working on a video. Actually, it was going to be like the 5th video on the channel, or the 6th video, but then Corona hit. It's probably just as well. The channel has evolved a lot since then, and I'll be able to make a better video about Almere. But I got to get out there to film sometime soon. I just Van Waalstraat, the place that I talked about in my most dangerous place to cycle in Amsterdam, where if I ever get homesick for Canada, I come here and I'm not homesick anymore because it reminds me of every street in Toronto. And we're now in De Pijp. Which way is it trying to take me here? I guess that's okay. I'm using the Fietsersbond route planner. If you're in the Netherlands and you're still using Google Maps, I'd tell you should try the Fietsersbond app. It's gotten a lot better since the last update, and the directions it gives are just so much better than Google. Are housing property prices crazy in the Netherlands? I mean, yes, but not as crazy as they are in other places. And it's funny because the Dutch are experiencing kind of their first serious housing crisis in many decades. It's nowhere near as bad as it is in Canada or some US cities, but it's bad and it is expensive. And something needs to be done. But this is happening all over the world, mostly because, well, partially because of low interest rates, but also because of housing development basically stopped after the financial crisis, and there's a huge lack of housing. And JB Life, does Apple, FedEx, and Amazon use bike deliveries? Well, I don't know about Apple, Amazon, and Amazon does not. FedEx, I've never seen one. DHL does for sure. PostNL does. The local electronics shop Coolblue does. You definitely see a lot of them. North Americans literally doing the first time meme at the Dutch housing market. Yeah, I feel bad. I feel really bad. Like, I know the housing crisis is bad here, and I don't want to downplay that it's a serious issue, but at the same time, like, if you look at housing price growth here compared to like Toronto or Vancouver, it's not even close. It's like in Toronto, housing pricing was going up by 20% for like 6 years. And that's when we bought our house, and it's just gone crazy since then. It's nuts. It's a whole other level of insanity. And it's gotten so bad that it's spread. Like, people are driving literally 100 kilometers to get to work because there's this concept of drive till you qualify in North America, which is you drive out farther out in the middle of nowhere until you can find a house that you can afford. And then commutes are insane because of it. Like, literally, it would be the equivalent of here in the Netherlands, people not being able to afford anything nearby, so they go live inside of Germany and commute to Amsterdam for work. Like, that's the kind of level of insanity we're talking about in the housing market in Ontario. Okay. How can you use a bike properly in a not flat city? I mean, I don't know. Get gears? I mean, if you can afford it, get an e-assist, and I find the hills kind of disappear. Ooh, a bit squeaky. Gotta get that brake replaced. Oh, I hate these SUVs. They're so wide. All of these people on bicycles stuck behind the one SUV. You really notice how big those vehicles are when you're here. Like in North America, they don't feel that big, but here even like mid-size SUVs feel huge because they just consume so much space. This is Hobomakata, which is one of the streets where cars are supposed to go. So a lot of the other streets are blocked off. They have modal filters to keep car traffic out. So this is one of the ones that gets busier. And we are immediately going to cross it and get away from it and back into the neighborhood streets. There's so many good restaurants near Dupipe. Yeah. If I didn't have kids, I would live in Dupipe. I don't think it's, I mean, it's perfectly fine to raise kids in Dupipe, but it's just a bit too crazy on the weekends, especially when the tourists are here. It's too loud. I love it though. I would gladly live there. Okay. This intersection is a bit of a pain in the ass because they expect you to come out here. Oh man. I usually just jump the curb there, but I won't do that with the camera gear on it. It won't survive. I don't need to destroy another HDMI cable. But that annoys me that there isn't a pass-through there. Anyway, it's all under construction anyway, so whatever. I'll just ride down here. Oh yeah, so here's an example, as I was saying, of the road blocked off to cars, but they still allow the trams through. Like, this is so typical. Man, I wish Toronto would do this, or Philly, or anywhere else. I used to live in Dupipe as a kid. I liked it a lot. Yeah, I bet it would be cool. Sarfati Park is really nice, and like, it's a good place. But it does get really, really crazy with drunken people in the evenings on the weekend. All right, we're coming up here. I'm gonna drop the stream as soon as I get down here into, I guess around Gerrit van de Veenstraat. But thanks for coming out, everyone. And thanks for your patience in the first stream that failed. If there was anybody here, we got 187 people, so a little less than a normal stream, but that's not surprising considering I had technical issues in the first one. We got to end on a tram. Yeah, that's fine. I'm going to get you a tram. Don't worry. You chill, dude. Oh. It's closed off. No. That's what high school is. Where do Dutch drivers park? I'm not seeing a lot of parking lots or parking garages. There are fewer cars. I mean, people park outside of their house. There are some underground parking garages, but the truth is, if you come down here, you don't come by car. Make this green light. Jesus, all right. fine. I was just like, I know you're turning right. Can you just turn right so that I can keep going? Okay, this is Beethovenstraat. We used to live down near here actually when we were renting a house when we first moved. There's an Aston Martin. This is the richer area, one of the richest areas of the Netherlands. So you will see your Aston Martins and Lamborghini SUVs. All right, anyway, that's it. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for your patience. And thanks for coming out. I'll invest in some more heavy-duty HDMI cables to replace the ones I destroy. That one, the latest one that got destroyed, was one of the good ones too, which is super disappointing. Anyway, that DHL guy's not using a cargo bike, but you do see them around here quite often. Do you think you'd ever live in a Dutch suburb? I mean, if I were to live in a suburb, it would be in a Dutch suburb, but I don't think so, because I want to always be walking distance to a lot of stuff. My wife does too. That's just, we like to go on walks, do stuff, have everything around, have the pubs around. Can you buy a bag of milk on Livestream? Yeah, maybe next time I'm in Canada. Livestream bag of milk. Looks busy, it is. This is the time schools get out, I think. Here's a micro car, box seats in the background. Well, I don't know if I have time to wait for the next tram, so I might have to just end it here. Yeah, there's no tram coming down that way. I think we just saw one, right? On the way here. Microcars and Land Rovers, yep, that's this neighborhood, microcars and Land Rovers. It is a bizarre place. You can see more microcars coming. Here comes a Mercedes G-Wagon followed by a, the microcar turned off. It was a microcar right behind a Mercedes G-Wagon. It is so funny to stand out here and look at this, like from a North American perspective. Everything's just so different. It's like hard to even know where to start with this. But it is amazing how many people are out and how many people are being carried by these streets. And it's slow and it's a little bit chaotic, but it's chaotic in a good way. Do you all find the scooters annoying? Yes, absolutely. If I wanted to get bicycle infrastructure installed in my neighborhood, how would I go about campaigning for that? There have to be local advocacy groups in your area, and you should look them up. There are a lot of Teslas here, that is correct. Bags of milk drive engagement like switching the Belgian and German flags on a video, correct. And switching the Dutch and the French flag in that same video. Okay, here's your tram. Thanks for coming out. I knew we wouldn't have to wait long for a tram. See you, everybody.